Hello, Martin W. Francis. This month we're going to be talking about line and shape. Now, from a visual literacy point of view, line, depending on how you use it, can say different things. So, for example, a vertical line could mean you're trying to project strength, something that's upright, something that's trustworthy. So you tend to see these vertical lines in communication that involves things like institutions, banks, schools, large corporations. If you're looking at lines that are more horizontal, then you start thinking stability, calmness, and just sort of a steady kind of situation. If you then put the line in a more diagonal mode, it becomes dynamic. So let's just do a few drawings here using a little bit of Conti crayon. So we have a vertical line here, and we have the horizontal line here, and then a dynamic coming over this way. So they're the three lines I've just been talking about. Okay, so line can be used in a lot of other different ways. For example, if you're drawing a tree, for example, now you can draw that tree flat, or you can infer form in that shape, and line can be done for this. If you look at the works of Henry Moore, his drawings for his sculptures, he's almost carving with his pencil the marks that he's going to make in the stone prior to creating that form. And you'll see it through a lot of Renaissance drawings as well, where the artist has described the form of what they're drawing using line. So an example of that is, say for instance, I'm drawing a tree, the trunk of a tree, quite bulbous. Now at the moment, we're looking at it, it's quite flat, but maybe I want to describe that form now. So maybe this part here. So by putting in the marks, it kind of infers the shape of this form. And this is a very useful use of line to create form and shape from the two-dimensional object. You may want to consider, when doing this kind of drawing with line, is to add weight to the line. And generally this happens in the more concave curve, and when you go convex, it tends to be lighter. So just start adding thickness to this line, and it's referred to as adding weight. So here it's thinner, and then as we curve under, it creates what I guess in nature would be a shadow. Now another way we can do it is to create tone. Okay, so say we have an object that's not from nature, something that's square, like a building, whatever, something cuboid anyway. Now this is actually made up of lines and shapes, and it actually is at the moment, even though it's trying to be three-dimensional, it is actually two-dimensional. So one way in which we can do that, of course, is we can shade it, and we can shade it using tone, or we can shade it using line. So say for example the light is coming from this direction. I start adding hatching to this side of the object. Now what that's doing is that's reducing the amount of white on that side of the object. Now, if you want to increase that reduction of whiteness, then you can crosshatch and you go this way. And we're all pretty familiar with this process of controlling how much tone you have on one side of an object or another. Now, I did mention to you that we were going to look at shape. So shape is a two-dimensional object. So if we look at a line, that is a single dimension. And as soon as we close off that line, it becomes a shape. And that is a two-dimensional object, naturally. Shape generally can be used together with other shapes, and the idea, for me at least, is to make those shapes connect. Okay, so if I, for example, draw a leaf shape, then I may decide to follow that up with another shape that's in harmony with it. I may decide, I've got a square here, I might put another shape inside of that square. And we then have a relationship between these shapes happening together. I think if you look at some of the artists that have dealt with this, one example would be Paul Klee. If you look at his work, he did quite a lot of examples where he interacted between line and shape, and of course colour and texture. The other one would be Kandinsky, German Jewish expressionist. Did a lot of work with representing music in his painting, and he used line and shape a lot as well. So have a look at those two artists, and they will you will be able to see some examples of what I'm talking about when it comes to the relationship of line to shape. That's it for now. Thank you.